Good afternoon, ladies and germs. Happy Homebrew Wednesday. So today, I've been wondering about this thing for a long time. This brewery in a bag from Muntons. Okay, it says no equipment needed, just add water. Okay, so this is the craft brewery in a bag from Muntons that I made almost a month ago. Let's give it a pour, and then I'm going to talk you a little bit through what you have to do to make this thing, and we're going to taste it and figure out if it's worth a crap. Okay, so let's just pour this thing. I'm excited about this, honestly. I really don't have too high of expectations for it, but it was hard for me to resist something so simple, and if it's good, such an easy entry point into, you know, craft beer and brewing at home. Okay, so a little seal underneath this thing we have to tear off. Super low expectations, but we're gonna see. Okay. Ooh. So the one thing I have heard about this is that there's very little carbonation. It's cask style. So if you're aging beer in a cask, the carbonation that it picks up over time is the only carbonation. You know, we're not gonna put it in a keg and carb it up. We're not gonna bottle it and put extra sugar in it to carb it up. It's just the carbonation that picks up from the fermenting process, okay? We got a little head on the top. Let's check this thing out. Cheers, guys. It's very light. Mouthfeel wise, it almost feels like drinking water. And that's not that's not to comment on the hops. There is some hop presence, there is some malt presence, but just in mouthfeel, it's not thick at all. It's basically just like water. But that could be misleading because I don't want you to think it's like watery or water-like. It's just kind of tastes like apple juice, if I'm being honest. Huh. So this is the IPA. Okay. They have 4 different styles. They have the IPA, they have a golden ale, they have a pale ale, I think, and then a dark ale. I can honestly see the dark ale being the best because dark ales don't require much carbonation. So I think the dark ale would be closest to a style that most people who enjoy dark ales would enjoy. If you're used to drinking IPAs, this probably isn't gonna scratch your IPA itch. I mean, hop wise, like, it's not hoppy. It's not much like an IPA in my mind. The maltiness honestly comes off as fruity. It's like, it tastes like apple juice that's like soured just a little bit. Do I hate it? No. Have I made worse home brews? Yes. Largely because of my fermentation temps. But I think it's the carbonation that's throwing me off. Like if this beer were carbonated, as an IPA would be carbonated, I think it would be far more enjoyable. It's a little flat, okay? So when I was making this thing, step 1, it says, please read the instructions. Dang, they're always getting me with that. Step 1, read the damn instructions. I'm obviously reading the instructions. Lay the brewer's bag flat on a hard surface and unscrew the white cap, okay? So when you first crack this baby open, obviously this bag will be flat and it'll have a white cap on it, okay? So we take the white cap off, fill a measuring jug with 4 pints of lukewarm water. I just left my water jugs out in the garage, and then I just laid it across my lap and poured 4 pints of lukewarm water into it. Okay, it's good to have a funnel handy, because that opening, with the bag so flat, you kind of have to peel the bag away from itself in order to have a little gap up top to pour the water into. So if you have a funnel or something to help you out with that, that would be good. And then you replace the white cap after you pour the 4 pints into it. And then it says gently shake the bag to dissolve the mixture. But I was like kneading it in my hands. I was pouring it from one side to the other, and then from the other side to the other, and just making sure it was nice and mixed up. And then I did like shake it, okay? Because it's like very syrupy once you first open the bag. So I can only imagine it was liquid malt extract in there, and then it was pre-hopped, so it had some hops in there too. So you have to get all the corners and make sure all the LME is out of the corners and is mixed up into the water, okay? And then once it's all mixed up, it says unscrew the white cap, open the enclosed sachet of brewer's yeast, which I did, and then pour the yeast into the brewer's bag, okay? Or pitch your yeast at that point. And then after you pitch your yeast, you're going to pour the other 19 pints of lukewarm water into the brewer's bag, okay? So you mix the LME around first in the water, then you pitch your yeast, and then you sort of wash it in with the 19 remaining pints, making 23 pints in total, okay? So it's super easy. And then once you're done with all of that, you don't put the white cap on. You put this yellow cap on, and it's supposed to be breathable, okay? And basically all it does is allows this to ferment and allows air to escape. It's designed that way so your bag doesn't explode, okay? I went back the next day after pitching the yeast, and the bag was fully inflated, like to capacity. So if you had put the white cap back on it, it probably would have exploded, or it certainly might have. Okay, and then you just let it go for 30 days. What I have heard of people doing is once you're pretty sure the fermentation's completely done, you can take the yellow cap off and replace it with the white cap, and this will keep any air from escaping, therefore retaining more carbonation in the beer. I didn't do that. So, you know, what I have is a completely uncarbonated beer, I would say. There's a little bit of carbonation. Can't tell if you can tell. A little bit. But maybe after a couple weeks, 3 weeks, if I would have put the white cap back on, it might have had more carbonation to it, okay? The only thing I would say is that if you're gonna do that, monitor it, and if you have to manually release some pressure by taking the white cap off and putting it back on, then do that, okay? But I was gone for about a week, you know, here and there, so I didn't want to just throw the white cap on it and take my chances while I was gone. So I just left the yellow cap on it. Like I said, I didn't have very high expectations for this beer in the first place, so I really wasn't concerned about screwing it up. One question I had, actually, let's get this thing back in the fridge so we don't, you know, let it heat up too much. Okay, so who is this kit for? That's kind of the burning question. That's like, who would get the most enjoyment or return for their money out of buying this kit? It's definitely not someone who makes good beer regularly. If you're an all-grain brewer and enjoy the beer you make and the complexities and you just love your all-grain beer, this is definitely not for you. This would be a complete waste of money. What if you enjoy making up kits on your stove? Whether they're Brewer's Best kits or Northern Brewer kits or, you know, something with a little bit of quality. I've never made a Muntons kit or a, you know, DIY beer kit, any of the Mr. Beer kits, never done any of those. This is actually my first pre-hopped kit. So I wish I could compare this to those because this was pre-hopped, but I can't, okay? So if you're used to making pretty quality kits like from Northern Brewer or Brewer's Best, this would be a complete waste of money. If you have a YouTube channel, however, and you want to do a review of it, because it's pretty cool. Anything that's like self-contained like this and in good packaging and says no equipment needed, if you'd like to do a review of it, this kit may be for you, okay? Are you really gonna enjoy this beer? Maybe not. Who else is it for? Maybe if you're like going to space and you can't really brew on the spaceship and you have some sort of temperature control, this kit may be for you because all you have to do is add water, no equipment needed. I would say if you're going on a big camp out, you know, you're gonna be out there for a couple months with really no nothing. Maybe, but it's gonna be pretty hot out there probably. And you're not going to be able to ferment this at, you know, 70 degrees or, you know, in the fairly cool range like that. May not be for you because this beer might suck even more. In fact, it would for sure. So if you're going to space and have some temp control, maybe that's who this kit's for. Or if your dad or uncle or anyone likes some side projects and you think they might enjoy, and they also enjoy beer, and you think maybe they'd enjoy putting this kit together, this kit might be for that person. Because it's a make your own, and honestly, like if I got this as a gift, even if the beer wasn't good, at least for that day, I don't know how the beer is when I receive this as a gift. I'm thinking, man, that's cool. Like, for the packaging alone, this would make a good gift, I feel like. If the person you're giving it to doesn't make beer. It says it's a full-bodied IPA bursting with fruity citrus hop aroma and flavor. A beer that packs flavor for the craft beer enthusiast. This beer is not for the craft beer enthusiast, I promise you that. You know, after half a glass, it starts tasting better. It's not that it has a bad taste, it's not pungent, it's not unpalatable. It just kind of tastes like apple juice. I don't even taste the hops. Saying this is an IPA is like, seems a little misleading. So who else is this kit for? Is it for someone who has never brewed before but would like to get into brewing? I would say no, because if that were me and I made this kit, I might go, I don't know if I want to make beer at home. I kind of like buying my beer because it's really good. This is not impressive. Like, if I have my friends over to help me enjoy my first home brew, they're not going to be impressed with it. There's 25 pints in here. Maybe if you have like 4 friends who you want to just have a little garage party. You know those guys can swill some beer. You call them over and you say, hey, we gotta crush this bag tonight. And it's like a challenge like that. Yeah, it's not low in alcohol. What is it, like 4.2%? So it's like buying a case of Bud Lights and everyone can have 4 or 5. If you invite 5 people over, you can each have 5. But honestly, I think I'd rather drink Bud Light. I like Bud Light. But maybe like slamming this thing with your friends could be fun. You don't have to look at it the next day. You can just throw the bag away after the night's over. You might have some interesting discussions because I'd probably be feeling a little buzzed after 5 of these. Maybe it's for you. If it's just for a night, you know, we're gonna do this thing. Let's put it on the calendar, let's plan it, and let's crush this thing. That could be fun. Definitely could be fun. And then maybe go buy some Bud Lights after you finish your 5 and finish the party. Or invite less people over, or do it yourself. Man, it's funny because I've looked up some reviews for this thing, and everyone I've watched, I've noticed that their reactions are all the same. And it's even funnier now that I can look back and see that my reaction was just what their reaction was like. It was like this. It's like starry-eyed. It's like what I can see now that was going through all those people's heads and that was also going through my head is, well, I don't know what I was expecting. You know, like it is what I thought it was. It's that sort of thing. Tastes like apple juice. Am I disappointed in it? No, because I had no expectations for it. Or I should say I had very low expectations for it. I expected it to be horrible. Honestly, it's better than I thought it would be. I remember those first kits I made just tasted homebrewy. I guess that was just from too high fermentation temps. That was not what I should have expected from a beer kit. If you spend any money at all and say, go buy a Brewer's Best kit, even a little one gallon kit, it's gonna be heads and tails, heads and shoulders above this dang thing. So at this point, I'm just sitting out here and enjoying a beer because I got a beer in my hand and because I got a full afternoon. The sun's shining, it's a beautiful day. I'm not gonna hate on it. I mean, I've already given it a pretty negative review. But for someone, you know, I'm walking through the desert and I find a refrigerator out there and it's plugged in. First, I'm probably going to get in that refrigerator, but I'm sharing my space in that little fridge with this bag and pour it and find out that it's an alcoholic beverage. That person is talking zero shit on this. Okay? So life's a matter of perspective, isn't it? It depends who you are, where you're at, what you're used to. And so for that reason, I can't hate on it. Because it's alcoholic and it doesn't taste like shit. I love apple juice. You know, okay, so I pick up a little bit of bitterness when I chug it like that and as the beer gets a little bit warmer. But the bitterness is completely up front. Could I pick out a hop and tell you what hop I'm tasting? Hell no. But it provides a little bit of bitterness that I can only assume or that I can only hope are hops. Other than that, I mean, you got yourself something else here. Let me give you a scenario where myself could drink this and really get a kick out of it. It's fall. I get myself the dark ale. I mix it up here in the garage. It requires minimal work. Okay. Mix some water with it, pitch a little bit of yeast, put the cap on and leave it. Forget about it. It's a dark ale. It starts carbonating. I let it go for a month. I let it go for a month and a half. I let it go for 2 months. I forget about it. Oh, I forgot about that. I pick up this bag while the corners are cutting into my fingers. It's the hardest thing to carry because where it asks you to carry it is like sharp as shit. So I'm carrying it out here, I'm cutting my fingers. I throw it in the fridge. I forget about it for maybe like three more weeks, another month. By this time it's winter, the dead of winter, and my garage is freezing. So I come out here to the fridge, I go to crack me a beer and I say, ooh, there's my astronaut bag. Because it's silver, it looks like a dang space experiment. I say, let me pour a pint of this thing. And maybe I've put the white cap on it so it's gotten a little bit of carbonation to it. I pour myself some dark ale, cask style. Very little carbonation, but it's a dark ale. And it's freezing cold out here. My beer's freezing cold. And I pour myself a pint. I take a drink. That might not be that bad. Because A, I'm not expecting much carbonation. I don't need a lot of carbonation to enjoy that beer. And it's aged just a little bit. I'm not expecting a lot of hop presence. That might be okay. So maybe if you're someone who enjoys a nice dark ale and you're not in a whole hell of a hurry, if you're not in any hurry and you love dark ales, it might not be a shit show. You know, it might not be a complete wash. It might be okay. Maybe I'll try it. Will I get the IPA again? No. Will I drink what's left? Maybe it'll hit me tonight. Maybe I'll challenge myself to drink all 25 pints of this thing. Because like I said, it's not awful. It doesn't taste bad. But it's kind of hard to choose it over, you know, I have a homebrew keg right now. It'd be hard to choose this over that. So maybe some of this, maybe a lot of it, maybe the rest of it will go to waste. I don't know. But by this point, I think you'll understand whether or not this is for you. Okay? I don't know. I watched all those videos of this hoping that there'd be something definitive. You know, buy it. Don't buy it. Nothing. It's all just like, no comment. I got a lot of yeasties down here, so probably not gonna finish this glass. But if you're one of those people that I said this beer might be for, go ahead and check it out. If you think, you know, based on what I've said about the very little carbonation, I couldn't enjoy a golden ale, a pale ale, or an IPA that has very little carbonation. Maybe the dark ale. Okay. So the IPA was probably a poor choice based on everything I'd heard about it. By now, you probably see where you fit into all of this. If you want to try it for yourself for funsies, it might be worth it if it's just for fun, you know. But based on this IPA right here, I wouldn't say you're going to like it. I wouldn't say you're going to enjoy it as what it's supposed to be. Okay? Anyway, cheers, guys. It was fun doing this thing. I mean, it was fun thinking about it, putting it together, waiting on it. It was easy. I mean, it required very little work. It's not like I had a full brew day that was all grain and cleaned a bunch of equipment, and then a month later my beer sucked. It wasn't like that at all, you know? It was a pretty enjoyable experience. And now I'm just happy I got to taste this thing, okay? So happy brewing. Happy beer drinking. Enjoy yourselves, because that's what it's all about. And I'll see you next Wednesday. Cheers, guys. Peace.